You are listening to the Orisa Economy podcast with your host Awolowo
and Ori Midar. We are the number one
and only
podcast and network dedicated to giving a voice to Orisa devotees that are leading in entrepreneurship.
Bit by bit, we're building the Orisa Economy network by connecting business owners, entrepreneurs, and resource providers.
Hey, Cabo.
Hey, Cabo, everyone. Welcome.
Welcome to the Orisa Economy podcast. I am your co-host, Ori Midara.
And I'm Awolowo Alaje.
And we want to welcome you to our very first official episode. We have two very special guests for this episode. We are actually going to do a panel, and we are so very excited. So first, we're going to introduce them by reading their bio, and then we're going to bring them on stage.
Definitely.
So, yes. Okay. So I'm going to read the bio of our first guest. Ifayemisi Elebuibon was born and raised in Oshogbo, Osun State, capital Nigeria. Ifayemisi came from a family lineage that is the direct descendant of Olutimehin, the co-founder of the city of Oshogbo and the home of the famous Osun Oshogbo Festival. She owns Brain Folk African Image LLC and Iya Laje Market LLC, a company registered in Nigeria and the USA to promote Yoruba culture and religion through books, movies, documentaries, and music production. She is an entrepreneur, director, producer, and cultural ambassador, spiritual mentor, and advisor. Born and raised as a traditionalist, she was initiated into Ifa, Abatala, Oshun, and Ekbe. Welcome, Iya.
Hello, Alafia, everyone.
Kaleireo. Greetings.
Yeah.
It's good to have you with us.
Yes, I am happy to be here.
Good.
Thank you for being here with us today. We are really excited about our conversation.
Okay, I'm looking forward to to share knowledge with everyone.
Great. Our next guest is Baba Obafemi. And Baba Obafemi has been a student of Orisa lifestyle since 1992. He was initiated into the mysteries of Ifa by Araba Ifayemi Elebuibon in the sacred grove at Oke Ayo Oshogbo. In addition, Baba Obafemi is a professionally trained counselor with a Master's of Arts in Education with a concentration in counseling from San Diego State University. For over 15 years, Baba Obafemi has been serving the global community as a teacher, counselor, trainer, priest, and thought leader. He is the president of the Orisa Lifestyle Academy, which is a clearinghouse of premium educational and spiritual products and services. To date, Baba Obafemi helped over 50,000 people develop personal rituals that energize their highest aspirations and inspire others to do the same. His mantra and mission is live the medicine. So we want to give a warm welcome, a nice okabo to Baba Obafemi.
Ashe.
Hey, Cabo.
Hey, Cabo, Baba.
Glad
to have you tonight.
I went to join and it sent me out to Zimbabwe. I said, "You got to join this page. It's going to take me to the bridge through Zimbabwe." No, okay.
Okay.
Baba, we can't see you.
You cannot see me?
Oh, I can.
You can see him?
you.
Okay.
I can see him.
Yeah, the platform is creative. It's gonna I'm part of my video is still coming in from Zimbabwe. That's what's going on. So.
Great. We have I'm sure we're gonna have a wonderful discussion tonight. We have a family affair spiritually. Our Oluwo, Baba Obafemi, was initiated. His Oluwo is Ia's father, so that's super great that we have that connection there. So we have the Orisa Economy Network as well as the Orisa Spiritual Network going on today. So
Yes.
excited
I
about this
say,
conversation.
yes. So tonight we have three topics that we are going to discuss. We're going to talk about entrepreneurial disconnects, Orisha economic principles, and also beneficial resources and assets to have in the network. So we're going to start the conversation talking about the entrepreneurial disconnects, and we want each of you just to give your insight and your wisdom, letting us know and our listeners know what are some disconnects that you might see within the Orisha community among entrepreneurs and just business in general. So whoever would like to start out.
Well, could you break it down a little bit more? So when we say entrepreneurial disconnects, for example,
So, an example, when we think about the just the Orisha community and entrepreneurs who are also Orisha devotees, and what disconnects might you see within their maybe their business dealings, their business structures? Any examples that you might see from their alignment with being an Orisha devotee and an entrepreneur? Anything that you may have experienced?
got it. Okay. Well, I'll go. I think one definite disconnect that I see is we have followed like the legacy and the history of the Cuban model without really examining and interrogating what are the real business opportunities within our community. So what I mean is that um, the Cubans built like the Botanica model, right? You got the Botanica, and then you got the what they call the Ile, and then you have your Bembes, and then you initiate people, and then you go through the whole process. If you got drummers, you got people who make the throne, you got people who make the food, you got people who make the clothes, and that's their model, and it is rooted in Cuba. Then it's replicated in Miami, New York, L.A., and then starts sprinkling about the rest of the country. And so, one of the things that I found is that our people, I'm talking about like African Americans, have we started off being exposed to the Cuban model as far as the religious practice, and then just kind of followed and felt like, oh, I need to open a botanica. Oh, I need to have bembes. Oh, I need to do this, and just kind of following that you know what I mean? That same sequence, like that's the way you do it.
Mm.
When just in all honesty, when you look around, we don't have success in that model. You go coast to coast, you don't find African Americans with big booming botanicas
Mm.
and thriving. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole model just it matches the Cubans because that fits in with their culture, and so they can naturally move within those things. They got those people already there,
Mm,
and so I think that's one of the biggest disconnects.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's super, that's super interesting. I remember I went to Niagara Falls, and in Niagara Falls, I saw the Indian culture where they blended it in with their hotels. So they owned a number of hotels out there, and a lot of the hotels were named the Ashram Hotel, and named after Indian names.
Mm-hmm.
And we I don't see that a lot in our neighborhoods of where we have the Orisha culture, and it's also combined with our business where it's solving our problems.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, I really like how Baba Obafemi started because he goes towards the path of where, as a business owner in the community myself, I do struggle. I had to do my due diligence, do my research intelligently, and figure out what are the needs of the people in my community, and then tailor my business and the thing that I put out towards their needs. And one of the first things that first realized is just like we are people serving and not community serving. And I will expand more on that. You will go to places and then you see people buying Orisha stuff out of state, something that is available in their own local. So you see them buying stuff from Miami, just like you said. You see them buying stuff from New York. I've seen it. I've experienced it. And then I'll see that, and then I wonder why. Why is the disconnect? Then that brought me back to where people serving, because I have a lot of people that I've personally reached out to, people that are known customer to me, that I miss their business, and I'll reach out to them. Oh, you used to come here. Oh, sorry, my brother started selling blah blah blah, and we keeping it in the family. So they would rather wait 5-6 business days to have their items shipped in from out of state, rather than subscribe to the local business owner who also has the same material for sale. So that is hindering the progress of the growth of entrepreneur, unless you have something going on for you outside the community. It is not sustaining enough. Just like Baba Obafemi has mentioned, that the business model of the Cuban fits into that in their home culture. As an African in an African American community, we have yet to tailor our lifestyle and our Orisha practices in the way that you can have a sustaining business. And that goes into also all of the materials that we use. We have artists back home who craft all of this, but they lack the beautification. They lack the modern tools and technology and the know-how to design this thing in a way that it is pleasing, desirable to the eyes, not just for the practitioner of the Isheshe, but for everybody to adore them. If you go into the Cuban store, you see a lot of beautiful arrays of stuff, of Orisha stuff that they could use to decorate their shrine and temple, that even if you don't know anything about Orisha, it's exciting for you to want to be a part of whatever it is that they have going on. And I try to talk to a lot of people that I've seen here who has the financial means and who has the artistic means to integrate and share knowledge, work together with people back home so that we can transport that back here too and have all of that. But it's just as it seems like a lot of people are just focused on the mat. And I like to refer to myself that my calling is beyond the mat. Because if your calling is beyond the mat, you'll be able to reach out and touch millions of people, unlike you being restricted to all the walk-ins, only dealing with your clients, only dealing with your students. So we have to embrace the calling beyond the mat in order to bring in all of these other aspects of our life into the community, that, okay, we understand that we have spiritual needs. We are also diverse human beings too. Like just as I said, we have clothes. We want to wear beautiful clothes. We want to, we want to have a spa day. We want to do, and the most important thing is just like the afterlife. The way our people are being buried here does not usually follow the way the proper burial rites for an initiate or a practicing babalawo. So those are a lot of money that we are leaving on the table. Instead of just focusing on the divination and the priesthood aspect, we need to expand and reach other aspects of our lives that is also affecting every member of the Isheshe community. And then we need to stop doing the self-serving. Just because I don't like one person, then I don't support their business. Now we have a small group of people doing the same thing. So we are all the business owner, but there is no customer, there is no consumer. So the people that I can do business with, they are also in the same line of business as I am. So who am I going to bring in? Is it the Jewish people or the Christian that I'm going to bring in to come and buy my stuff? Everybody is doing the same thing, and that's not progressive enough for us. It's not about not having the financial means. Like I've got to the stage where, okay, fine, I can secure the finance, I can buy the materials that I need. Where are the customer? So now you have a problem of over investing in the business, having all this merchandise and nobody to sell it to. So that's one of the greatest disconnect that I have seen and I've experienced, and I think that we need to work on if we will have our money to be within our community.
I say y'all hit on all the points.
Wow.
Yes. I love that
I really
beyond
love.
the mat.
That's where I
Go
was
ahead.
going with it too. Beyond the mat, making a difference. I love that. And we have someone within the school that deals with death. So that also caught my ear when you spoke about the correct burial rites and things of that nature. And in solving our own problems, there is profit in that, and and is helping on so many different levels. We're helping to complete the spiritual rights as well as to foster that economy within our communities.
Yeah. I really I heard a lot about sustainability and what does that really look like to sustain the businesses that we have, especially if we don't have any customers, or if we're all trying to start the same businesses, starting a Botanica that doesn't really fit into our model. What are some other ways that we can solve our own problems? And I think it just really starts with looking at what is it that we really need. What need can I feel without having to go outside of our own communities? And I guess I would ask you both too, when we mentioned what those disconnects are, is there something that you all think would be a solution that we can offer to our listeners, like something that they could do, on a day-to-day basis to really help when it comes to supporting each other?
For me, I like to take a lead at this one. I say I'll still go back to the people serving. That is the number. I've been here in the States 10 years. And I understand that if we all decided that we want to keep our money in our community, we want our community to prosper and grow, it is visible. It's something that we can achieve if people can put aside their individual differences and focus on the goal and objective, the bigger thing that we're trying to achieve. That's what should be the prominent thing. It should not matter who that person is. Majority of the time, you have to take the message and not look at where that message is coming from, because we are all flawed. And I see it is continue to be of who do we like as opposed to who can do the job. So the moment you get cancelled, like they saying now, all of a sudden, nobody want to do anything with you anymore. And if you see someone with a cancelled person, they also get cancelled as well. So it turned into like a ripple effect. So one of the things that I figure that we can do is just to focus on the greater good of the community, what we are trying to achieve. In Yoruba, we have a saying that anytime baloja lamanwo aikinwariwoja. In essence, like you focus on the person that you are negotiating business with in the market and not be distracted by the external noise of the market, because that's the distraction. So that's our main objective to be, okay, the continuity. It's not even the continuity alone, but the sustainability. Okay, we are here practicing. We have almost everything that we need. What about our children? We are not doing things now for the future generation, but we're so short-sighted that it's just for now. But we need to do a more of a permanent future thing, so that this thing right now can continue. That is one of the things that I figured that could be the solution when people put aside their differences and stop with this, with this Ile doesn't deal with that Ile. Like we are not even enough to have that much separation and segregation among us. And it's outstanding when you see a group of 5 people are Ile, a group of 10 people are Ile. So we now have all of these groups that not even make one, you know. So it's just like I don't get it.
Again, super powerful here. Yes, um, I definitely love that about looking to the future, serving the people, and think about sustainability in the work that we're doing.
Bob, and that ties into the Orisha lifestyle agreements.
Yes. And it totally everything that I was loving what Ifayemisi was saying, because I kept thinking, oh, these she's like been reading the manual, man. She's
Yes.
right on time. But I noticed that the last time when we went to get the OB, I said, wow, Ifayemisi is like we're like in total sync. It's so very refreshing. Um, I think that, yeah, the Orisha lifestyle agreement are about exactly that, taking it off the mat. Like, how do we take our values and make all of our values visible everywhere that we go? How do we make our values visible in the market? How do we make our valuables visible in terms of security and protecting ourselves? How do we make our valuables visible in educating our children, the food that we eat, where we get our food from? You know, everything that we say we believe in, we should be able to demonstrate it in our everyday activities.
Yes.
And so if I say I love Oshun, but then I'm using all kinds of products that are actively contaminating the water, well, what good is it doing for me to be, giving Obi and Orobo
Yes.
and water and gin just to Oshun, but everything I do in the rest of my life is poisoning the water? What good does it do if I say, oh, I worship Oya, I worship Oya, I worship Oya, but the only thing I do to worship Oya is when I'm in my shrine? Everything else that I do in my life totally contradicts Oya.
Yeah.
So I think that the one of the things that people can do is, around sustainability and being able to connect the dots around what are all the dimensions of the Orisha. It's how do you understand the Orisha beyond the stereotypes and those little narrow caricatures? And then likewise, how do you understand yourself as a whole person? Because you don't live your whole life in the shrine. You don't live your whole life on the mat.
Yep.
Like Fayemisi was saying, it's like there's the whole life cycle. You got children. They have extracurricular activities. They come of age. They need rites of passage. They go to school. They get married. They buy homes. They buy cars. We people retire. Sometimes people go into old folks' homes. They die. Like, all of those are the problems of life that we all share. Why don't we look at the whole life of a person and start to apply our abilities to solve all the problems that we know our people are going to face inevitably? There's no way to get around it. So I love it, and I really hope that at the very least, people start thinking on these terms and start having conversations with one another about things above and beyond rituals and ceremonies. Those are important, but like I said, nobody lives their life in the shrine. So
Yeah, that's a valid point, because we have to anyone who understand, like you said, the Orisha lifestyle. Like I was saying, saying is just like when you're living it, it's always like that, and then it's a thing of you cannot have a healthy spiritual life and not have a balance in your every other aspect of your life. The success is not really just about having financial success alone. It's about setting goals and achieving them. So if you say you do your Oshe regularly, you do everything that you're supposed to do to meet your spiritual needs, and you fail in every other aspect of your life, you'll see a failure, because everything needs to be balanced. I mean, and I love the way that you brought in like the stages of our life. I have a 6 years old, I want her to have extra curriculum, but I want her to be in an environment that accommodates and respects
Who she is.
a spiritual
Right.
lifestyle and upbringing. Because I want to put her in dance class. She doesn't wear black. We're a child of Mama Batala. They will have black uniform. They have red uniform. That limits her. It means that, okay, because of our taboo, she cannot participate in X, Y, and Z activity. But if she's in an environment created for her well-being by people who understand, they will be able to design the program in a way that is accommodating to our needs beyond the physical. Just like the same thing I posted on Facebook a while ago. If your doctor is also spiritually fed, just like you, they will be able to analyze your problem with a both scientific way and also analysis in the spiritual way. We need counselor. People have mental health challenges that we can help. Just being a babalawo alone is sometimes when you're treating people, it's a one size fits all. In some regard, when it comes to medicine, until you know the roots of this person's problem, then you can provide the proper remedia for their problem. So we need to collude to bring in both of our world, the professional and the spiritual. We need to make sure that they are intertwined in order for us to benefit from both worlds. Thank you.
Ashe.
Okay. Very true. Very true. That definitely ties right into taking it beyond the mat and
Yes.
speaking about Orisa economic principles. So for when we speak about Orisa economic principles, and it could be maybe a verse from an Odu Ifa that sticks out to you, or that you use within your business, or a verse of Erindin Logun. It's up to you all. But one of the examples we would have of that would be for the investment group that we have. We had the Odu Irete Ogunda that came for us, and there was a story about a monkey, and the monkey was stealing food from a farm, but the monkey was only stealing enough food for him to eat, him and his family to eat. And then the wife monkey came one day, and she was like, "Oh, you're not stealing enough. You need to you need to start taking a whole bunch more." So she started taking a whole bunch more, but that didn't work out well, because it was that day that the hunter had been put on notice. Either you deal with this thief on my farm, the farmer told him, or I'm gonna take care of it myself. So that day, the security guard took care of the female monkey. But the moral of the story, and the way that it worked in business, was that we as an investment group had to build into our business some type of charity. So those that were good to us, those that our customers and things of that nature, and those who we worked with in business, we had to in turn build it in some way where we gave back. And that's also something that could be utilized within anybody's business within our community, is looking for ways where we can give back to the community. One of the simple ways is looking into Black-owned banks and things of that nature. So that's just an example, but we would love to hear you all's principles.
For me, there's a being having lived in Nigeria and here, I know, and also Baba Obafemi has been on several times, so I know you will agree with me. There's a lot of program, there's a lot of exchange that still needs to happen. I would still hammer on the exchange that needs to happen, because what we lack here, we have it back home. And what we lack back home, we have it here. And several years ago, there are some group of people from New York and Philadelphia that they begin the Orisha CDC. So they go home, They train people about, about computer, time management, educational stuff. But then in exchange, what are they getting back?
Right.
So that is why I said the exchange needs to happen. We can have cultural exchange program. We can go back home, and we still need our home community center. And it's a good thing that we are having this conversation, because this is just like a personal family conversation that we just had, that my dad had to call all of us about. What's the future? What does the future hold for this family as a pillar of Yoruba culture and spiritual practices? What's going to be our the continuity of everything that he had set for us? And then we talk about having a community center. Just like you have the recreation center here where people do all sport activities, but it's going to be mainly about cultural activity where people can learn Yoruba language, the art, the dancing, the drumming, and even sometimes, Ifa studies. And then we can have people come here from the United States, come home, come learn, and create a program whereby people can be able to come in and spend a couple of months and just train in the heart of the Yoruba culture that they love. It necessarily not be about learning Ifa and stuff, because there are other aspects of Yoruba culture that are dying as well, because the focus is just on divination aspect. And we'll be able to educate people. Like for me, I write. Most of the inspiration that I get from my book, I got from old Ifa. I don't just use Ifa for the healing purposes. There's so many things that you can do. I make movie. I've wrote scripts for movies. My dad has done that. He has written poetry. He has composed music based on old Ifa. So we still, our community still need to expand to every aspect of our life, and we can only do it if that exchange happen. I never knew I could write songs. I began writing, composing new songs for the Orisha, but I couldn't really sing, so I need talent. Who knows, who understand the science of music. It's not really just about do I sound good on, to make music that we have varieties, not just, you see young people coming up from Nigeria trying to do songs, and they're repeating the same songs all over. Everybody is singing it. So it's just like, we need that exchange to happen. We need to have a lot of programs. And one of the things, the model that I actually, from Odwifa, that I know that it is important, and I take that from Iroso Meji, say, Adanko, Adaroko, Adawanforo, Janforo. Adífáfẹ́ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ dèrè tí ó lọ́rọ̀ kálálẹ́ tó lẹ́ ẹlẹ́kọ̀ọ́ dèrè ṣe bó lo jèrè ẹlẹ́kọ̀ọ́ dèrè ṣe bó lo jèrè òun sọ dúdú òun ló pupa òun fàyìn nígbàjá ẹlẹ́kọ̀ọ́ dèrè ṣe bó lo jèrè. The base of the Odu is just really about not being grateful, not being thankful, and not showing appreciation to the people that are happy, because ẹlẹ́kọ̀ọ́ dèrè in the story, the business wasn't going so well. But then they went to a Babalawo, they did the divination and everything. And you're supposed to go back to the Awo and give them something to thank them for everything that they've done for you. And then Elekodere begin, wearing all these flashy outfits. He was making money from the business, wearing different clothes. But then I would just, you were wearing all of these beautiful clothes, but then you said you didn't make any profit. And it's, there's nothing, I don't have anything, there's not, in order to not give to issue what is due for issue. So you have situation whereby, especially for us that practice Ifa in the healing aspect, you go to every length for your clients. And then people just forget.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do a lot of pro bono stuff just because you have all of this knowledge, and then you can. So you not doing it is a disservice to your ancestor, because you didn't own this thing. They gave it to you. So you holding it and not wanting to share and not want to help people. It goes against the tenet of Ifa, but then you do all of these things and you have nothing to show for it. Because people forget to thank the Hawo, and then it say the novice are wicked. They do not want the Hawo to be successful. So what I would just encourage people to do, it takes a lot. Whether we are entrepreneur, even for me that I know I had my business there for almost 10 years. it takes a lot. So many times I just like, if it is just my needs, I can meet my needs. But then understanding the fact that a lot of people are in that situation that they need that help. But you have your money, but imagine there's no supply. What are you going to do? So it's not for us to start thinking that people are setting out business to make money. We have to also look at it in the way that they are doing it to help us fulfill our spiritual obligation. If there is no means, your money will be put to shame. Then you can accomplish the things that you set out to. So what I would just encourage people is you support people, support your AWO, support your people in the community. Let's keep our money in house, and let's remember to to give thanks and appreciation to those who have helped us along the way.
Yes.
Man.
Ashe.
Well, I think in addition to everything that I heard, there's so many things I want to respond to. It's just like so rich every time. But I say succinctly, my most important business principle is service. I have found that service is where people discover their superpowers. And that's important because so many people, let's say in my career, right? So I'm a counselor and I'm a teacher and I'm an Ifa priest. And so I'm doing those things all at the same time, and sometimes I'm doing it with the same people. And so I know a person from 5 angles. I know you, I know your spouse, I know your child, I know your grandchild. I've worked with all of y'all in some capacity over the last 10 years. And one of the things that trickles down is that when you have an adult who knows his power, or who knows her power, they know what they do. They know what their contribution is. They know, how important they are. Then they are they're in a better position to then help their peers, to empower their peers. They're in a better position to empower their children. They're in a better position to empower their grandchildren. But people who don't know their superpowers are more defensive. They're more insecure. They're going to be more likely to become haters, as we will call them, because they are offended or afraid by things that challenge them, or things that are unfamiliar to them, things that I do something and you feel I'm flexing. Right? I do something loud and proud. I do it loud and bold. You know what I mean? Not because I don't even know you're in the room. I don't even know you exist. I'm just doing it because I'm excited about it. I love this. This makes me so happy, and I want to share it with you. But if you're insecure within yourself, it's going to be more likely that you're offended by what I'm doing, and then you're going to try to fight me instead of empowering me. You're gonna fight me. Instead of encouraging me, you're gonna try to undercut me, right? And so I think so my principle is about service, because number one, what it does is it insulates me and protects me to a degree from taking it so personally, right? So I'm saying a couple things at once, because what I have learned is that within my own life and in my own career, part of what allows me to be able to continue doing what I'm doing is because I'm serving. You may take it however you want, but at the end of the day, I know what my mother did for a living. I know where I was raised. I know how many hours of my childhood I spent in hospitals, in hospices, in camps for the developmentally disabled. I know that I've lived a life of service. So I know what I'm doing. You don't know what I'm doing, but that's okay. So however you respond to it is how you respond to it. I don't have to buy into that because I know at the bottom line, I'm serving. I know how many years I did it for free. I know how many years I did it for free. Free. So that gives me a sense of, calm and security in the face of like things that, because it gets crazy. If you're going to do, the reason why I'm saying this is because when you do business in our community, this is inevitable.
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to become targeted, by somebody for some reason, legit or illegit or some combination thereof. But if you do it long enough, then, it's going to come down. So your focus on service is what's going to save you. It's because it gives you, I literally know what my superpower is, and it's service. The second reason why I emphasize service, though, is because when you serve and you know where your contribution really is going to make a difference, then you also know people's problems very well, right? You really, yeah. So I know who my people are. I know what's behind that problem. Even the person who's insecure and is fighting for, no reason. You know what I mean? Because I've done it long enough, I have special insight into the people. So when people will come to me over the years and they say, what can I do to get started? Anybody will tell you this. If you talked to me 15 years ago, if you talked to me 20 years ago, and you sent me a message, you say, what should I do to get started? 99.99% of the people, I tell them the exact same thing. Number one, you need to discover your natural gifts and talents. You need to know what you do well, what comes naturally to you, what you love doing, what you would do all day, every day, what you would do for free. Number two, you need to find somebody who you admire or you see what they're doing, and you need to give what you do away. Give it to them. Give it to them. Hey, I paint. I braid hair. I cook food. Whatever it is that you do, you find somebody and you give it to them. You serve them. You serve their community. You serve their cause with whatever you do. Once you do that, that's going to give you the freedom to observe. You show up on your own terms, right? You're showing up because you paint. I'm showing up here to paint. And I'm going to paint for 15 hours a week. And while I'm painting, I'm hearing what's going on. I see who's who. I see how people talk to each other. I feel the vibes amongst the people. Hey, after I painted here for a month, I realized this is a phenomenal group of people, or you're a phenomenal individual. I love you. I want to do more with you. Right? So serving also puts you in the driver's seat. And it helps to reduce the insecurity as well, because now you're not coming to me just because I'm offering you this thing for $100. Mm-hmm. We're able to start building a relationship now, as opposed to just transacting this thing where you gave me $100 and I did this for you. So service allows you to tap into your superpower. Service allows you to get a chance to know who you're working with. Service allows you to create the kind of terms and the parameters for how you're going to engage with people. And then if you continue with what you're doing, then that also allows you to perfect what you do. You get to get better at your craft. You get to get better at your skill, and perhaps then start to provide it to more people in the community where you've been serving for a year, a month, or however long it's been going on. So I'd say, first and foremost, cultivate a real commitment to serving. Stop asking Orisa to do just stuff for you. Like that part, this is just a personal pet peeve. I'm off on a little tangent, but on the other side of it, it bothers me that nobody wants to give anything to Orisa. Nobody wants to, like, nobody. It's rare. It's rare that people don't give nothing to the babalawo. Like Ifayemisi was saying, man. When my kids were little, like I said, I was doing this for free, and I had little children. People would come to my house. They see I got a house, I got a woman, I got 3 children, I got a car. The lights are on. You come in, I do this for you. I work with you for 3 hours. I solved your problem. You told me I solved your problem. And that's it. You don't even barely say thank you. I said, wow. Okay. So you think my children are just eating imagination? You think I'm paying my mortgage with the $50? Like, what do you think is going on? But then I realized, I can be, I can be exploited.
Sure.
I can be exploited. So I have to measure what I'm doing, because otherwise these people would exploit me and burn me out to ash. And then when I crash and burn, they will laugh at me. They will ridicule me. They will tease me. So that's another. Once you get on the side of service, once your service has become professionalized, then there is another principle, which is being measured, and being professional, and understanding that because I need to earn a fair wage for what I do, doesn't make me greedy.
Yep.
Doesn't make me a scam artist. Doesn't make me a charlatan. Doesn't make what I mean. It just means that I understand that, hey man, if my child's tooth get knocked out, I can't call y'all. A whole bunch of people are not gonna come to my house and say, "Oh man, Baba, we heard that baby his tooth got knocked out. We put together this $500 to take him over," or my brother is a dentist and you just take him right over there. Don't even worry about insurance. Like, see that kind of thing. So that
Not
is
happening.
Yeah.
I mean, the exploitation that Baba mentioned is big, especially for us that does creative work. You put book out there, people are reproducing your work, making photocopies, things they will not do to other order, the secular one outside of the community. Everything else that they go outside, services that they go outside, that they know needs to be exchanged for cash. They want it free. And I feel like it's a lot of disrespect towards the profession that people treat us sometimes that way. They want to be entitled to your time. They want to call you and have you on the phone 1 hour, 2 hour, dumping everything on you, having you take that on for nothing. And then, just like Baba said, it's evidence that you can say, okay, yes, my life has changed. So what do you do afterwards? Nothing. And then it's just another thing, like people treat you like a laundromat. They just want to come in, drop that dirty laundry, and come back and pick it up clean, nice, and folded.
Right.
No one need to participate in nothing.
Right.
So it's just like it's a lot of things that we need to unlearn and learn a new way of approaching this thing, of respecting the Orisha, of respecting the custodian of the Orisha. Because I would say this, we have a song that says Babalawo lo ye ka kole ka tunrale, that is befitting for a Babalawo to build house and have nice car. One of the reasons why we have such a disconnection with the Yoruba youths from generation in the past to the Orisha practice is because the livelihood of the practitioner are not encouraging. People are living in poverty. People are not skilled. People are uneducated. So how do you advertise that to the new generation? Whereas they see Christians, they see Muslims, they see people who are of other spiritual faiths living the life, living in nice houses, sending their kids abroad, wearing beautiful clothes. But this stuff that you said is original, is what our ancestors has passed down to us. They are not even, they can barely afford to send their children to private school, much less think about taking a family vacation abroad. Yeah. So this is why, this is a lot of times when I think about all of these things, and our community just started coming up. When the money became saturated, it's not even up to 7 years ago that the community start coming up. In the past, you need to see the way people cannot even afford to buy kola nuts to do prayers, much less have money to have their Odun Ifa. They have to gather from here, a little bit from here, a little bit from that. So when I see people who want to talk about this amount of money they are being paid for this stuff, but they don't realize what their money is going towards. That's why, again, I have to go back that we have to look at the bigger picture. Because everything that we are doing now, just is the service that Baba has mentioned to our ancestors. Every one of us has a part to play, whether small or big. So, and then if we put that sense of responsibility onto people and let them realize that you are a part of a bigger scale of picture, and you have a responsibility to yourself, to your community, and to your ancestor to withhold and help maintain and sustain this practice. I think the orientation and the way that people handle each other in this spiritual practice is going to be different, because if you see yourself as a part of something, as opposed to be this system is against me, then you are much more implored to want to do your own part too. This is not about ego. This is not about whose name is on the building. As long as the culture is thriving, I'm satisfied. Because that's what matters for me. That's what matters to our ancestors who have went through a whole bunch of stuff to make sure that this thing is still something that we can all still grab on. So it's important for each and everyone to have that sense of duty and responsibility towards each other. So for us to to progress.
That's shame.
Very true.
Oh, y'all need
Thank you all for
stuff.
Yeah. I was in depth. Right there. I have to press record. I mean, not record, rewind. And listen to it all over again. Yeah. My goodness. So it's both of you were speaking to the service and it being, it has to be a selfless service, because there's going to be some obstacles, some haters, some ungrateful people along the way. So, along with being the Orisa Economy podcast, we're also poised to be the Orisa Economy Network. And in so doing, building that network, we want to ask you, who would you like to see in the network? So this is definitely a time to plug those businesses, those thought leaders in business that who are Orisa devotees, as well as yourself in both of your businesses.
And even if it's not by name, it could be a category or industry, as well.
Okay, I'd like to shout my friend Lily. She has a spa business out here in Marietta, Georgia. It's called Culture Soul. It's a wellness center. They offer massage. They do hair candling. They do colonoscopy. A whole bunch of stuff too. They offer herbal stuff. They have classes whereby they teach you about. I don't like to call herbal indigenous medicine the alternative, because it was the original medicine, before the alternative came in. So they do a bunch of stuff. So you can check them out. It's called Culture Soul. They're out here in Marietta. And also for me, I have my Yalaji Market business where I bring in, I say authentic, Yoruba, Isheshe, spiritual items from kola nut to whatever you need in your temple, straight from Africa, to help each one of us to be able to practice our, spirituality effectively.
Okay.
I have got to think about people who are doing, businesses. I know. I just got to Georgia a couple of years ago, so of course I got to shout out the Alaje Market for the Choice OB and Orogbo, which I've been using all week. Likewise, the Asuada Market also, I get my OB and Orogbo as well. Always high quality. And let's see. There's also things that I would really love to see. One of the most important things would be communications. So this podcast is super exciting because I can't think of any other platform quite like this that is deliberately targeting Orisha entrepreneurs. And I'm going to pull up this post. Some years ago, I made a post on Facebook and just asked people who are entrepreneurs. There was a lot of people. I mean, I think there got like over 100 comments on this thread of people because I had some idea and I've forgotten what happened with this idea. I'm going to fish this up and I'll share with y'all. There might be some resources there. But communications is a real big deal because let's say, for example, right here in Atlanta, there's so much going on, and I know it has a lot to do with what Ifayemisi was saying. I was saying too, which is, people can be kind of cliquish, and so they don't want to just tell everybody.
That's the thing, though. It's a fraction. It's, let's you go to this place, you don't see certain people there. You go to certain places, you don't see certain people there. So it's just like so much division.
It's too much. It's too much. But if there's some neutral party who could just like create, a basic, like an event page and just say, these are all the events. A listing. Hey, these are all the businesses. You know what I mean? You pay for, put your name in this registry, and we all can just look. And you still get to pick and choose, but you at least get. I think if people got a chance to see it, like, oh, there's like 200 Orisha businesses in Atlanta. Wow. It would help you think bigger. I would also really love to see education. If I wasn't just a little bit over the hill, I would do it myself, which would be like you're reviving the summer camp and the winter camp. I did that for 7 good years of my life, and it was the best. I loved it. But even that, though, to be honest with you, in those 7 years, and this is in Oakland, though, so the vibe is different. Oh, man, I might have had two Orisha families come in, so it was like,
yeah,
I did it with all, everybody but us, so it's just like, well, that was what I was trying to do, but people just didn't go. But still, I think that would be like some kind of educational enrichment, that would bring all the young people together to sing and dance and learn and develop together. I would love to see that. That would make my heart very happy. Other business I would like to see, believe it or not, like even in Atlanta, clothing. Like, you can find some African clothing, but like I go out and people see and they go, man, I had a guy stop me the other day. This happens maybe once a quarter. Somebody just stops me. Hey, I'm sorry, brother. You just looking like something magic, And I'm thinking, we're in Atlanta, so I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? But it's always just straight love. Man, I love that. Where can I get a suit like that? I got to say, you got to go to Nigeria.
Yeah, custom made.
You got to get this custom made. I can't tell you anywhere to go and get this made here. And they just look at me like, for real? I'm like, yeah. You can't buy this here. You can't buy it. You can't buy this here. So it would be real cool to be able to see some kind of a clothing outlet for men and women. Yoruba clothes, you know what I mean? The Senegalese got their thing, and it's cool, but it's different.
It's different. Even the embroidery, the stitching, the cutting it's different. You can always tell.
Yeah, yeah. So I would feel awkward. You know, I went to a wedding, and I think I lost my luggage or something, and I had to go buy a suit, and it was a Senegalese suit, and I felt like, this is not right. So yeah, those would be some of the top ones though that I would really, really include. Oh, okay. One more thing that I'd like to see. I would like to see something social too. Because like, you know, people don't live their life on the map. But like where do we go to if people smoke cigars, if they want to drink, they want to have a party. Where about let's just a party. A place where we go and hang out and socialize and just you know, and that kind of stuff you do get access to more in Nigeria, right? Because there's several hours.
Yeah.
You have like hotels and stuff like that, and so you can like kind of like, so metaphorically speaking, you take your ileke off and you just like, this is me. This is just me. I'm
the
just
regular thing.
the regular thing. I'm just a person, you know.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see stuff like that.
Yeah. And I like to add, like, you know, with the the summer program is actually important because, you know, like I said, I have a 6-year-old and I have other parents who have reached out to me because they would like to have some kind of program where we can bring our kids together because we have the same shared value and teach them Yoruba language specifically, and then, you know, about culture, and then find a way to write Orisha books for like tailored towards, you know, children to start them off, to have the knowledge of, you know, of the culture. It's because they have a lot of questions to ask. I mean, my daughter had learned about Jesus from watching TV, so and that's one of the things where I have to start writing books that is tailored to children. I give her my books. I give her my dad's book to read. I read it out loud for her so that she could understand. But I would love for her to have her own book, you know, where she can always, you know, share with her friends and written in a way that it's a children language. And then also would love to, you know, just like Baba said, like, you know, to have a place where you can decompress, you know, where you can, you know, put your ileke down, because I don't really attend a lot of bembes, because if it's not appropriate for my child, I'm not gonna be there. And for me, being raised in a cultural environment, there's some certain, you know, habits that you don't do in front of people. And here, when I go around, we're having spiritual events, and I still see people bring their habits along with them and cannot even spare that moment as sacred, and let's just, you know, do what they want to, you know, do all this extra stuff while we are still having spiritual. And I feel like it's not appropriate for my daughter to be exposed to such, you know, to such activity. So that really put me back, like, okay, you invited me to this place, but then I'll get there and I'll see people doing X, Y, and Z, and then I have to tell my daughter, because he's gonna ask me a lot of questions, and then all of these things that I don't want her to see as a normal behavior and things to do, she starts seeing it and registering in her mind that, okay, this is something everybody does, because she belongs here and belongs to Nigeria. If she take that back home, it's gonna look back at me as a bad parent, like I didn't train her. So so when you have an outlet whereby you can do all of those extra stuff and just help us, you know, sanctify our spiritual activities in a way that is accommodative for all of us that doesn't engage in some extra activity. And I think that's important as well, because, you know, it just doesn't really apply to my home, you know, believe that, okay, let's make this moment sacred. Let's not bring all of this stuff. And then it's the way that people dress, you know. Right. They want to attend function that is supposed to be, you know, and then you dressing in a way that belongs to the club and bringing that to all of these things that we are doing. And I would also like for us to invest in, you know, having a community center, just like I have said, that caters to all of this stuff that children can go to, learn African dance, learn African drumming. We can have cooking classes for them. We can have, they have Sunday school programs. We can have Orisha, Orisha Ifa for kids and stuff programs for kids as well, in a way that it felt like a community. Because for now, that sense of community, I am not getting it. I am not getting it. So that's a lot of things that I would love for us to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also food too, though, because a lot of us, we have a lot of taboos. But if I have someone that owns a restaurant that understand, like, the spoon that you're using to cook your fish, you don't put it in your goat meat. I would love that. Thank you. I would really, because sometimes that's why I don't go outside to eat that much, because people who have no, they have no gumption about. Some people are really cannot eat certain things, so they just put the same spoon in the chicken and use it to scoop the fish. No, please.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I definitely understand what you mean, and those are some really great suggestions. From the own food places, the educational summer programs that seem to be big. Something that you both reiterated on. Clothing, I definitely love the clothing, so I I would be into that.
Me too.
And the event page and registry, that's definitely something that we're working on building the registry aspect to it. So if you are a service provider, if you have a business, you're listening to this podcast, you're an entrepreneur, you have your a startup, you're serving the community in some shape, form, or fashion, definitely reach out to us so we can get you on the registry. So we can start to build this network. We'll continue to build the network because we already have things going on, but so we can continue to build the network, and it could be all that we can envision it to be, and even beyond that, bigger than our wildest imagination. And it just seems like it's that time where things are coming together, and like Baba was speaking about earlier when you two were talking. It seems that there's a lot of alignment, just in the atmosphere right now, where people have common goals and are working towards, are working towards the common goals from each of our unique standpoints or angles.
Yeah. I wrote down some key words to kind of summarize what you all were discussing today. And I heard sustainability, support, service, and you all talked a lot about reciprocity as well. And so I just wanted to make sure that anyone who's listening, that sometimes if you just take those key words, you can use that to align in a way that you need to just conduct yourself, and not just in business but just in your personal life. I really reciprocity, I think, is really huge. It's really big when we are honoring each other in the way that we see each other and how we support one another and what we do for each other. And that is really going to be a big part of our network. And that's really what it's rooted in. How can we solve each other's problems, and how can we serve each other in a way, but also see each other so that we are not just taking advantage of what another person does for us and not giving back. So we are really just grateful, and thank you so much for joining us today. This was such a good conversation.
Yeah, it's refreshing. I mean, I love to to talk about stuff like this, because a lot of time people will just want you to talk about Ifa, talk about the Orisha, and I feel just like we've been talking about it all this year long. What have you done with it? So be done with it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We definitely appreciate your time, and everybody definitely look out for the podcast. This is a great kickoff panel. Appreciate your time. And
We didn't do the squad. We got to do the squad shot.
okay.